Hey there, it's Michael Kwan with NFTs Unlocked, and in this video, I'm going to share with you why VeVe prices keep falling. I'm also going to share with you the strategy and mindset that I'm using to navigate this period of FUD. For those of you that don't know, FUD stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, just a quick reminder that none of this is financial advice, so please do your own research and let me know what you think in the comments. I'm always curious to understand other people's perspectives and see if there's anything that I missed. So let's get into it. What's causing this latest crash? Over the last week since I did my last video, when I said VeVe is on sale, prices have fallen even further, maybe about 20 to 30% across a lot of different projects. Now, not all projects have been affected and not all collections. A lot of the grails are still holding their value, but definitely across the board, we're seeing a downward trend. So what's causing this? If we think about it on a macroscopic level, VeVe is like any other market, right? There's a buyer and a seller, and there's demand and supply. And so if we see someone selling a bunch and there's not that many people that are wanting to buy, we're going to start to see prices dip. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a number of people start selling off their digital assets and their collectibles, as well as their comics. And so the question is, why are they selling? And I started to dig specifically in because I wanted to understand the short-term mentality and mindset from the overall consumer. Now, for myself, I'm taking more of a long-term approach, and we'll touch upon that a little bit later. But let's think about what's happening in the short term, at least. Now, there's three groups of people that are potentially selling off the assets that are causing this price depression in the VeVe app currently. So first of all, there's people that are using what are called bots, and these are little scripts or programs that they put onto their phone that give them an unfair advantage. Now, this is against the terms of service by VeVe, and they've said basically if they catch you, they're going to ban you. And this is actually happening. VeVe is becoming more sophisticated at being able to detect this type of action, and it's great. I mean, it needs to happen, but there's always this kind of cat and mouse game. So some of the people that are using bots are actually starting to get caught. And one of the things that I found on Reddit is this article about someone, and I'll just kind of give you the quick gist of it. He said, I've been into VeVe since 8 months ago. People started using bots. I wasn't able to get any drops. And so he ended up buying some bots himself, ended up using it, ended up getting banned. And then his other accounts got banned as well. So again, VeVe is getting more sophisticated, being able to track IPs, digital fingerprints from your systems and your phones, and even potentially your payment method. I don't know what they're using specifically, but the reason why I tell you this is that people that are using bots know that they potentially have a limited amount of time before they're caught. And if that's the case, then they start to realize that it's only a matter of time before their accounts get shut down. So what they're doing is actually taking some of their assets that they have and they're selling it off, collecting the gems, and then taking those gems and selling it off on a third party. Sometimes they have these side types of Facebook groups, or they have these separate groups that you have to join, and they'll pay you about 40 cents to the dollar for every gem that you sell them. So this is causing, an outflux of some of those gems, but in the process, they're selling off their collections. And so that's causing, some of the undercutting that you're seeing in the marketplace. Now, secondly, that then gives other people a loss of confidence because they may have wanted to hold a specific collection, let's just say a Disney Golden moment, and they see the price go down and they, get scared and they're like, what's going on? Maybe I need to sell off mine too. And so they start selling theirs off. So it starts as kind of like, chain reaction, and it starts to fall. The other third group of people that could potentially be selling off things are people that are looking forward to new drops that are coming out. So if there's something that they're anticipating, for example, in the last golden moments, or maybe they're anticipating something bigger, like maybe like a Spider-Man or even a Pokemon, right? Although that's, I think, much further away. They're thinking about, okay, what's going to come out? And if there's something that's coming out, I need to sell off things now so that I can have enough gems to actually buy this on the secondary if I don't hit the actual drop. So again, there's these three groups of people that I really believe are pushing the market down. And so we want to also understand some of the general market sentiment that's out there. And I think people are getting upset because they're having some frustrations with VeVe because they've talked about MTL, which is the money transfer license. And they talked about it back in October. And unfortunately, there's been some delays. And what's happening is that people are saying, hey, what's going on? I'm really, frustrated that I can't get my money out. And so they're losing confidence in the overall, system that they thought was going to be in place. So here's another post on Reddit specifically explaining why the market's dipping. And they're talking about, some of the trust is no longer there with people, and people are skeptical to put new money in, which could be, very well in the sense of they're skeptical. I get that. I mean, I understand even as an end user that if you don't have confidence in something, then you potentially are going to withdraw. So that's definitely another factor of it. And so I do believe that VeVe could do a better job at really helping to communicate some of that as we go along. And they have done that during some AMAs. I believe they could probably do some more in the Discord server. And so hopefully we'll see some more of that as we, move forward. Secondly, they've also talked about Immutable X and how you could potentially move it onto the platform over there and then sell it off for OMI or convert to Ethereum. And that is still in the works as well. And so there's this kind of a lag period that's kind of coming along. And I think, again, that lack of communication and the impatience and perception of people of what they thought was going to happen is disconnected. And so again, that's where we're seeing a loss of confidence and people saying, okay, I want to pull my gems out. And I think that's the gist of why the market's falling. It's no simpler than that. I mean, it's a function of supply and demand. And when people get fearful, sometimes that can cause a chain reaction. Now, for myself, I'm taking a very long-term position with VeVe, and I have since the beginning, meaning that I'm looking 2 to 3 years out before I really kind of take some of those profits off the table. I've already taken some off the table, but I've invested even more in at this point because I believe there's a significant upside once all of these mechanisms get put in place. And we're talking about the MTL, we're talking about the Immutable X, we're talking about some of the new lobby system where you're not going to be doing a traditional, just click on your phone and try to do the buy now blind box type of methodology. It's going to be more of a raffle system, and MCP points are going to come into play, the Master Collector program. And so I'm looking at that as a big opportunity to see a big rise in values over time. Now, the interesting thing is in the NFT space, a lot of times just, a week goes by and it feels like a month, or it feels like, 2 months. And so we have to kind of keep some perspective, and we have to keep the right mindset as investors, because if we don't, then we can get caught in the trap of trying to chase our losses. And that's the last thing we want to do. Warren Buffett has said it, and the best investors say it, and they actually act upon it. And he says, buy low and sell high. Now, a lot of times that makes sense intellectually. Everyone's like, oh yeah, of course, buy low, sell high. However, when you're into the thick of it, right, and you see your value evaporate, then you start feeling these emotions. And it's no different than me. Like last week, I bought a goofy secret rare lenticular card, and I bought this for $3,300 and put it into gems, and I bought it, and I was super happy. I was like, oh, I got it at the all-time low. Well, guess what? This last week, it dropped all the way to $2,300. And I was just like, wow, that's like $1,000 drop. So yeah, that doesn't feel too good, right? And so in my mind, I'm like, well, did I make the right decision? I started second-guessing myself a little bit, but I came back to my ultimate strategy and I said, okay, well, what does this also mean? What could this also mean other than, yeah, it sucks to see the value of my overall portfolio drop significantly, but what could this also mean? And like last week, I talked to you about, VeVe going on sale. Well, guess what? it's still on sale, and it's even a bigger sale. So you know what I did? I actually went out and I bought another Goofy, and this time I picked it up for about $2,500, I believe. And then I went out and I bought a Pluto because it kept falling as well. And now I'm eyeing a Spider-Man Mini Marvel to get an additional one of those. And I'm likely going to complete the entire lenticular set with Daisy and Mickey pretty soon here on in. Finally, I'm also eyeing a couple of Donalds because Donald seems to be doing pretty well in terms of keeping its value with the overall relative collection. So keep an eye on that one as well. I think that one will do, well in the long term. So I think that's what I really want to share with you guys today, and that yes, there's reasons why we're seeing this short-term pullback, but long-term, let's think about this long-term. Once people start to see and get their confidence back, the market's going to rise back. Once some of these major bots are out of the system and they can't manipulate the market as much, the true collectors are going to come in and hold some of these collectibles, and the prices will naturally rise as they should in a natural market. So again, I'm really bullish on VeVe because I see what they're doing from behind the scenes. I see the leadership that's in place with David and Alex, and I know that they are true collectors. They're looking out for the true collectors that want to come into the ecosystem. And it's really not about these people that want to just flip the short-term, gains, right? It's about building value. It's about having fun in the process and building the right mechanisms in place. The truth of the matter is MTL can take quite a while to get some of that licensing in place because there's lots of regulation and things that they have to follow, and a lot of legal things that we don't see from behind the scenes. And so I know that they're working nonstop, and even though some of the communication may not be as transparent as I want it, I still have the full confidence, and I'm betting on the team that's in place. I mean, think about the brands that they've literally brought onto this platform. We're talking about Marvel and Star Wars and Disney and all these great brands, DC Comics. I mean, it's incredible just the sheer amount of brands that have come in. And we're talking about literally within the last year. I mean, that's just amazing. And so they're growing, they're rapidly expanding. And, companies don't just, get born overnight, right? It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of action from the teams, the strategic decisions. And yeah, they're not going to get everything right, but I do believe that they're in the right trajectory. I do believe that NFTs are going to explode over the next coming years. And I think we're going to look back at this time and be like, I can't believe that I had the opportunity to buy some of these NFTs at such depressed prices. And I know some people are going to be just like jumping up and down, realizing that they got the deal of a lifetime. And there's going to be other people that are kicking themselves because they're like, I had this literally in my wallet and I sold it off for a loss or pennies on the dollar. And in hindsight, they're going to be like, why did that happen? And again, it comes back to mindset. One of the things I share with you guys is I am a financial freedom coach, and I teach people how to build financial independence and how to get in the right mindset to take the right action at the right time. And so again, this is no different. If you're going to follow the crowd and do what everyone else is doing at the same amount of time, you're going to get the same result. I would, throw out there the idea that, hey, why don't you do what other people are not doing and not looking at so that you can ride the wave up when the time comes? Look further out than other people, and you'll be able to benefit and profit when other people aren't able to. All right, so that's what I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please throw them into the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. And yeah, if you found any value from this video, please hit the like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps Google to, share it with more people. And I can't wait to make some more videos. I'm super excited to see where this goes. And if it keeps falling from this point, I'm gonna keep buying. I'm kind of waiting out to see where the floor kind of bottoms out. And I'm going to potentially pick up some more all along the way. The other thing quickly to note is that the MCP program is also coming. And so part of my target is really picking up some of the comics, the rare comics, where you can get the most bang for your buck. And if you go to VeVe set list, you can find a great list of all the different comics out there that have the best bang for your buck in terms of MCP points. And so, for example, like this one is showing the next drop for tomorrow, so you can kind of ignore these unless you catch it on the drop. Then of course it's a great win. But if you buy these on the secondary, if you're looking at this Fantastic Four annual number 3, you can see that if you buy the rare, it's about $41, and you get 2 MCP points for that. So it's $20 per MCP point, and so that's a pretty good value relative to some of the other assets or the comics on the platform. So I'll probably do another video separately to talk about some of the MCP and some of the things that I'm looking at and targeting, but those are really great opportunities to pick up because they're not that much money, but later on people are going to really start clamoring for these things, because I'm telling you, if and when they do release the Pokemon, right, I think it's going to be after they've implemented the new system of the raffle and the MCP. And so once that comes along, people are going to really be targeting the assets, in this case like a rare comic. And so if you're holding a bunch of these, right, then you could potentially sell them off for a lot later on. So that's all I have to say about that for now. But again, look for another video next week, and until then, stay blessed.